Smurfing in video games has been an issue for a while now. It affects all games and presents a complex and multifaceted challenge for the developers that has significant implications for a healthy competition, player experience, and the integrity of online gaming environment. So what exactly is smurfing, and how can we as a community and the developers deal with it? Let's take a deep dive into the smurfing problem. Smurfing is an act of playing a game you already have experience in on a new account, making quick progression and dominating lower skilled opposition. This usually applies in ranked, where higher ranked players make a new account to quickly climb the ranks for many different reasons. The term comes from Warcraft 2, where two very good players used names Papa Smurf and Smurfette for their old accounts, in order to avoid other people leaving the game when matched against them. All competitive games suffer from this. I won't get into people who smurf to play with their friends in games that don't have a game mode similar to ranked, learn new characters, or just create a new old account to rank up with and try their best. In this video, I will mainly focus on how to fix or relieve the problem of people ego smurfing and the content creators who use this smurfing content to gain viewership, inadvertently influencing other content creators and players to do the same. Now, not every lowest rank to highest rank type of content is equal. Many creators put educational in their title to avoid scrutiny, but most of them give no real insight. Rather, they just proceed to outplay the enemies with their superior mechanics. You simply can't learn from smurfs in your games, because even if you make the right decision, you will rarely be rewarded due to the difference in mechanical skill. Still, there are a few creators who make this content the right way. The most notable difference is already in the title. You can separate this content into unranked to Radiant, Challenger, Grandmaster, etc. category, or into the Bronze/Iron/other lower rank in the game to the highest rank category, with the latter obviously suggesting that the creator, or whoever they bought the account from, has thrown many games in order to get to the lowest rank in a given game, which is obviously a different, much worse issue. Looking further, this type of content can also include challenges. Now, I am not talking about speedruns or basic challenges that barely limit you. While it is certainly interesting to see Daznerf go from Iron to Radiant using Judge Only, he was already a Radiant Judge Only player before this challenge. Same goes for someone like Metro and his Soldier 76 only run he does almost every season. How does it even make sense to call it a challenge when you are already a GM Soldier player? As a Valorant coach Wuhujin once said,
"Is it entertaining? Absolutely. Is it ethical? Don't lie to yourself. It's not."
Before going any further, I should announce that this video will be split into 3 parts. I will mention 2 games where smurfing is considered a bannable offense, and 2 games where it is allowed, with 1 game being an outlier. Let's get to it then. I will be starting with Valorant, where the smurfing problem is especially bad. Even though smurfing is considered against the rules by Riot, this has not been enough to stop many players, and even content creators, from participating in it. Most of Valorant content creators have done an Iron to Radiant type video, where they either buy an Iron account, which constitutes account sharing and is against the terms of service, or throw games on an account to get to Iron, which is also against the rules. Following that, they proceed to destroy lower ranks for content. There are many examples of this, especially in the Valorant community, since the game doesn't offer much else in terms of content, so naturally these videos do become very popular, in turn promoting smurfing to a large audience. To be honest, I don't know how these big content creators get away with it, since there are examples of smaller streamers getting banned for this, but seeing that these videos get a lot of views, other creators are more incentivized to make more of this content. This also creates a demand for these low rank accounts, which creates a whole problem of its own, being botting, where accounts are leveled up by an AI playing quick game modes and collecting XP, and even 5 stacks of botted accounts in competitive being AFK getting quick D ranks. The more smurfing gets promoted, the higher the demand will be, creating more and more problems for the developers to deal with, leading to even less content in the game, leading to more smurfing content. A self-fulfilling prophecy, if you will. Another part of the problem, mostly specific to Valorant, are e-daters. Usually, one person gets a lower ranked account to play with the other, resulting in them smurfing and boosting their duo, but I will address this issue later in a specific video. Just like in Valorant, you can get banned for smurfing in Rocket League. Psyonix defines their example of a smurf account as intentionally keeping an account at a lower rank than where you normally play or starting an alternate account to harass others. So how does Rocket League prevent smurfing? Well, the game is free to play, but does require the player to be level 10 before being able to queue ranked. Except it doesn't do that. You see, if you are in a party, the game will only check the party leader's level 10 requirement to play competitive. And while Psyonix did suspend and reset the rank for multiple Smurf accounts, many more go unnoticed. Not only because the developer turns a blind eye, but also because spotting a Smurf is not always as easy in Rocket League compared to other games I mentioned. While Smurfs are bannable, the definition is a bit more forgiving. Many content creators and professional players have Smurfs, with Road to SSL or Road to GC being some of the more popular content on YouTube. So even though these creators are not technically breaking the rules, they still inspire others to go and smurf. And these other players don't abide by these regulations. And that's how, with no ill intentions, these content creators contribute to the smurfing problem. Overwatch, or now Overwatch 2, doesn't and didn't in the past consider smurfing ban-worthy. Blizzard has an issue only with throwing games, which on some level makes it more similar to Rocket League where smurfing is not allowed. The Overwatch developers do consider every new account of an already experienced player a smurf, that's why this exception is in place. However, this has led to an incredible amount of bronze and unranked to grandmaster type of content. I personally have no idea how creators got away with bronze to GM content, since they either had to throw many games to get the bronze, or buy the account, which is also against the rules. Fortunately, unranked to GM took its place, so these content creators don't need to throw games anymore. So why can Overwatch do this? Well, even with competitive being one big mess, the one thing Overwatch does pretty well is getting players to the ranks they belong in. If you are performing really well, be it your damage output, eliminations, low deaths, healing output, etc., you will gain more skill rating while you're diamond or lower. Win streaks and lose streaks also provide more or less SR, and the average rank of your lobby also makes a difference. Even so, while Overwatch does still suffer from the smurfing problem, a much bigger issue is the boosting problem, but I will tackle that in a different video as well. Riot Games have nothing in their rulebook to prevent smurfing in League of Legends. However, that does not mean that they are doing nothing to try and discourage them. In League, you need to be level 30 and own at least 20 champions to play ranked, which is not the easiest thing to do. Riot also tried to implement so-called Smurf queue to get these smurfing players to play against each other, which has unfortunately been removed. While I am not an active League player myself, the idea of Smurf queue sounds great. If the game detects you are performing exceptionally well for your rank, it will match you with other players performing exceptionally well for the given rank as well. This can get difficult in practice, since stats are not everything. But personally, I would like to see this idea be implemented in other games as well to get more results. On the other hand, you could argue that due to it being much harder to rank up in League compared to other games, smurfing is made much easier, since you can stay in the lower rank for longer. At the very least, it's an even bigger issue. Just to make a quick comparison, In Dota 2, smurfing is bannable, and on top of that, their ranked system filters out smurfs way better as well, so it is not an impossible task. I haven't mentioned this for other games, even though it could apply as well, but in my opinion, the end of season ranked rewards are especially bad in League, which also discourages players to grind on their main account. But same as in Valorant, as long as it gives Riot more revenue and a higher player count, these games will likely not be seeing change anytime soon. I wasn't going to mention War Thunder in this video, since it doesn't really fit with the rest, but during my research of the topic I found this amazing video by Spookston. War Thunder has no skill-based matchmaking. You face players depending on the battle rating of your vehicle, meaning the effectiveness and combat ability. However, there is nothing stopping you from going back and playing in the lower tiers. This creates a problem where experienced and new players are matched together just because the tier of their vehicle is the same. With the game offering no other options, like combat against bots, apart from custom games, this can deter new players from playing. The solution for this could be versus AI mode or just better matchmaking, but since this is far from my expertise and much different from other games mentioned, I will leave the details to someone else who knows what they're talking about. So, how can this issue be fixed? Well, that depends on how much privacy are you willing to give up. In South Korea, your League of Legends account is tied to your social security number, and you can only have one. This not only helps to prevent smurfing, but also discourages bad manners, cheating, harassment, and boosting. This would be a great addition, but I don't see it being accepted in North America or Europe. So what else can we do? A simple solution could be adding a phone number verification in order to play ranked. This would not completely stop the problem, but it would greatly help, stopping people who decide to casually smurf or players with up to 20 smurf accounts. Another solution could be increasing the requirements for ranked. Higher levels, more time spent playing. But this would most likely not help too much. When someone wants to smurf, getting the account high enough level is rarely the problem. As I mentioned earlier, I would also like to see League's Smurf queue be implemented in other games, since it does seem like a great tool in theory to combat smurfing. All of these suggestions are great and could help, but in my personal opinion, it's most important that we discourage smurfing as a community. If creating an account to smurf is looked down upon, content creators are against smurfing instead of making that type of content themselves, and we actively frown upon players who do smurf, I believe the problem would be more manageable to the point where the developers could deal with the rest of the issues regarding smurfing and boosting. We, as a community, can make a difference.